Hello and welcome to Storytime at 9. In fact, but before everything else, a very, very happy new year to all of you. I'm sure, we have all been waiting. I don't think ever any particular year people have waited for the new year as much as we have waited this year because of course, this pandemic, the COVID thing. Everywhere, all across the world, everyone has been waiting. And the new year brings us hope and good wishes and, of course, gifts. And now, when we talk about gifts, can Storytime at 9 be far behind? Right? So, today's session is also a special gift. Now, what we have been doing in Storytime at 9 is take you around the world every week to a different country. What we're going to do today, the first episode of 2021, the year which we hope will be dramatically different from the previous year, that will be full of good cheer and good news, health and happiness for us. In this one episode today, we will take you around the world, across all the continents. So I am not going to tell you stories, but we will have the best storytellers that we have had in Storytime at 9. And the best storytellers we have had in Storytime at 9 are also the best storytellers in the world, right? And so we have picked the best storytellers from each continent who will be telling you stories from their land and bringing us good news, good wishes, and filling us with hope. Now you have to guess. Today, we will not disable the comments box. Okay, those of you, but I would urge you not to talk to each other, but you can start by guessing who are the storytellers that you're going to listen to today. And if you can also say when the storyteller had performed earlier, okay, then you definitely stand to get an additional gift. And this time, the gift will be a book. So do put in your comments as I keep asking you to guess. Now, the first storyteller, okay, that we will listen to today comes from a country, of all the countries that we have traveled to, this is probably the country that is farthest away from us here. One of the farthest away from us, okay? And when she told stories and did the beautiful presentation about her country, we were just wowed. And so many of you said, we have to travel to that country. Which is the country and who is the storyteller I'm talking about? Let's see, do we have any correct answers? No, I don't see any correct answers yet. It's a country very far away from India, and we had a fantastic storyteller who gave a lot of beautiful music in her storytelling and did a fantastic presentation of a country. And as I said, so many of you, well, Ninad has got it right. It is Paula Martin from Argentina. So Ninad, can you also guess, or do you remember when Paula had told stories, in which month? Yes, Paula from Argentina. Ninad, you can contact us later for your gift. Well, she was here in the first month itself of August when we started. And let us listen to Paula first, and before we go on to the other storytellers. Paula.
Hello, so good to be here back with all of you. Really happy to be sharing stories again. New Year's is time to make wishes. So this is the song I am going to start that talks about a wish. Si me dijeras, pide un deseo, preferiría un rabo de nube que se llevara lo feo y nos dejara el querube, un barredor de tristezas, un aguacero en el alba, que cuando escampe parezca nuestra mañana. If you ask me to ask for a wish, I will wish for a tail of a cloud. Yes, that will take away all the bad and will leave us here with the protective angel. And because the story that I'm going to tell you is about a tail of a cloud. It was a cloud that it was so small, so small, so small, so small that everybody called it a tail of a cloud. Un rabito de nube. Now, this cloud, this tail of a cloud, wanted to offer its services, wanted to help raining and making everything green. But every time she got near the big, fat, round clouds, they looked at him with reject, saying, ha! Look at you. You are so small, so insignificant. What are you doing here? Well, I am here to offer my services to rain as you do. No, look at us. We are big and we are fat. Those are the real clouds. You are just a nothing. Go, 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 go. And everywhere that little cloud tried to get close to the other clouds, they would all tell him to go away. So it happened that this tail of a cloud wanted to rain, so it traveled very far away and it appeared on top of a desert. So the little cloud, the tail of a cloud, looked around and said, well, I think it's good to rain here because nobody's coming. Nobody's going to tell me to go away. So that tail of a cloud concentrated really hard and it turned itself into a one single drop of rain that fell from the sky and laid on a stone. And since it was so quiet and so silent, everyone was able to listen to hear that sound. And the plants that were protecting themselves under the ground because the sun was so bright, they asked, what was that? What was that noise? That noise, what was it? And the stone said, it was rain, a drop of rain. Rain! It may rain! So let's get ready because rain is finally coming. We were waiting for rain for so long. So all those plants that were under the ground started to show a little tiny bit of green to see if the rain would finally appear. And then those big fat clouds saw that there was some place around there that was trying to be green. Let's go and rain ourselves over there because it's trying to get green. Yeah, let's do that. So all the clouds went there and they concentrated and they turned into rain. And they rained for days and for weeks until everything was green. Very green, very, very, very green. And those clouds were so proud of themselves. They said, oh, we are the ones that make everything green. We are the most important ones. And none of them remember the little tiny tail of a cloud. No one except for the stone. Because the stone is old and the stone has got memory. So the stone remembered and was the one that was able to tell the story of the tale of a cloud that once she made such a loud noise that was able to awaken all those that were asleep. Un torbellino en el cielo, una gran ira que dure, un barredor de tristezas, un aguacero en el alma, que cuando escampe florezca nuestra esperanza. And when the rain stops and the sky is clear again, let's our hope flourish again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paula. Such a lovely story of hope. Now, I want you guys to keep on guessing who are the other storytellers that we're going to have today. Who are the ones you want to listen to? Some of you have already given your suggestions, the ones that you're expecting, but keep guessing. Now, the next storyteller, now let's see who gets it right. The next storyteller is again a far distance away from Argentina. Far, far away from Argentina again. Someone who's been very popular. Most of you have loved her. But she has not told stories so far at story time at 9. Now, I'm sure many of you are going to guess this name right. Let's see. Do we have the correct name here? She is far away from Paula. Far, far away. And she has never told stories in story time at 9, but most of you have loved her. Right here in Orissa, some of you have given the right name. That is right, Saswati, who has been your most popular storyteller in Rabibar Gapobar. By the way, I hope you remember Paula singing. That was Paula singing Rabibar Gapobar in Oriya. If you have not, we will play it again for you later. But then, over now to our most popular storyteller from Rabibar Gapobar, but in Storytime at 9. I'll tell you a funny thing before she starts telling stories. She is actually an English trainer, a phonics trainer. So most of her friends or many people know her as correcting the pronunciation, the phonics. So when she started speaking in Odia, many people were like, zap. They said, "Oh, you speak such wonderful Odia. We didn't know that." Now, many of you have heard in Odia, but not in English. Let us hear Saswati in English for the first time in Storytime at 9 today.
Everything I am, everything I'll be, I'll give it to you, Lord, and do it thankfully. Every praise I bring, every song I sing, everything I do is a gift to you. Well, this beautiful song was sung every day by an old woman. She was grateful to God for everything that she had. Well, we are grateful for the house, for the food we eat, the family we have, the friends and the abundance, our good health and our strength. But this old lady had a teeny weeny tiny hut, and her husband was no more. Her son had left her long, long, long ago, looking for a job, and he never ever came back. And she sat by a river, thinking of the beautiful days she spent with her son when both of them climbed up on a mango tree and they plucked and enjoyed the juicy mangoes. When her hands were strong and boom, she could put her hand into a river and take out a fresh fish and fry it. Crispy, crunchy, tasty. She'd forgotten the taste of fruits and vegetables. She remembered how she and her husband had a tiny farm and whoa, they grew carrots, cabbage, capsicum, yes, turnip and radish as well. And the soups she made, the pilafs, and how her house resounded with laughter. But now she was all alone. She was lonely. Her hands were fragile, nimble, and she sat by the river. Just then, she heard the fluttering of something, and she just looked out into the bush, and she saw a bird, exquisite, the colors of the rainbow. Yes, purple, violet, those beautiful flowers, red roses, the carrot orange. Oh, she couldn't take her eyes off that bird. And as she went closer, she saw the bird was in pain. It was not being able to lift its wings. It was unable to fly. And let me tell you what she did. She picked up this bird and took it right inside her house. And the bird's heart was cook, 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 cook. It was scared on the touch of a human. Um, what did she do? She massaged the bird and she shared whatever she had. And if you think that she's eating pilaf and fruits and vegetables and fish, no, 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 her back wasn't strong enough for farming. Her hands weren't strong for fishing, and she couldn't climb up trees, and all what she had was watercrests, something that grows along the rivers. It was tasteless, and she had watercress soup, watercress soup, watercress soup. So morning, for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner, it was only watercress, 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 watercress. Oh my God. Her taste had no feelings at all. But that's what she shared with the bird and sang, massaged, and prayed that the bird would recover soon and it would fly. And believe me, that is what happened. One day, when the old woman was sweeping, she heard the fluttering of the wings and the tiny bird sit on her shoulder. And she looked at the bird and said, "Oh, you're fine, you're ready to fly, my friend." But again, the very next moment, she was sad. She was very sad because she had to let go of her friend. I don't know about the old woman. I would have kept the bird back because I was lonely. But she let the bird go into the wild because she knew the pain, the anxiety of loneliness. So she let the bird go. But before it left, she said, "Friend, to come back to see this old woman." And the bird fluttered around her head and it flew, leaving the old woman in loneliness again. Just within a few moments, she could again hear the bird, and she just looked up and she said, "Hey, you came back really soon." When pop, the bird dropped something. It wasn't poop, my dear. It was a pip, a seed. She picked it up and she saw it was a pumpkin seed. She hadn't eaten one since years. She just wanted to take it and roast it and eat it. But she thought, let me sow it. Maybe a pumpkin and I can eat something. And she quickly ran to her yard and she dug and she dug and she dug gently. Pop, she put the Pippin and seeded, and she started watering it, and she sang la 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 la, and she watered and she sang and she watered and she sang and she prayed to God for whatever she had. And as days passed, out came the shoot and came the leaves and the tendrils, and down went the roots. And within days, out came big, big, a huge orange pumpkin. It was enormous, large, one she hadn't seen since years. And how excited and thrilled she was. She ran to her yard, but gently stopped up off, took it to her kitchen table and placed it. She took the knife and zoop, she went. It opened into two. So many seeds. Delicious things to eat and delicious things to drink. Pilaf, yes, pilaf, kebab, yes, soup, and then some bread and some rice and vegetables. And oh my God, she hadn't tasted it since years. Everything that she ate was bland, and all this made her grateful. She immediately thanked the blue bird, the rainbow bird, and she thanked God, and she ate and she ate and she ate and she ate and she thanked. But there was so much. What would she do? So she decided to share it with her neighbor, who just stayed across the road, and she quickly took the food. And as she knocked on the door, her neighbor was no good lady. She had a black heart. She was jealous. She was selfish. She was mean. And this old lady would often go and beg for some sugar, maybe some salt, and that's it. She said, I don't have sugar. I don't have salt. Get lost. Again, a knock. And I'll tell you how mean that lady was. She would often say, this is the beautiful dress my husband has just bought for me. But, you don't have a husband. Never mind. Well, this is a bangle my son has just bought it. But, you don't have a son. Never mind. That mean, that wicked neighbor was. So this old lady gave the food. She said, you stole the food? She said, no. And she started and blurted out everything about the bird and the pumpkin seed. The neighbor was blue in envy and green in anger. So basically she was purple and she was boiling. Closed the door and thought, I must have that rainbow bird. I want that pumpkin seed. I don't want to eat leftovers of that old woman. And she went out and she sat by the river saying, hey, rainbow bird, when will you come? And the little bird had perhaps come to meet the old woman. But today, she was healthy, she was fine, she was flying, and she sat by a bush when this wicked woman took a stick and crack, she hit on the wing of the healthy bird, and the bird her wing, her arms were broken, they were bleeding, she was in pain and agony. Oh my God! What she did was the old neighbor picked up the bird and said, I want that seed and I want it quick. And she let the bird go. The next day she said, when will that bird come? When will that bird come? I want that pumpkin seed. And believe me, poop fell, not poop, but a seed. This wicked woman picked up the pip and dug, put it in plant and said, "Hey, pumpkin, come out soon. I want it back. I want it so." Yes, nature. Out came the shoots. Deep went down the roots and the tendrils. Out came a pumpkin, bigger, juicier, more orange, more shiny, enormous, huge, gigantic. I don't know any word that you want to use. She took the pumpkin, she placed it on her kitchen table, and whack went her knife, and out came many, 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 many snakes, venomous snakes, lizards, spiders, cockroaches that crept on her body and leapt onto her. How hard she tried to dust them, sweat them off, but they just didn't move. She tried hard. She looked here, she looked there, she looked everywhere, and plum! She jumped into the river to swim to a land where pumpkins didn't grow. And if you still go there, you'll see a very old, ugly woman who has been swimming since years to get rid of the creepy crawly creatures is still swimming. And our old lady is praying, la 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 la, thanking, eating food from pumpkins and sharing. So gratitude is a muscle that we need to exercise. Let's be grateful for the house, for the food, for the family that we have. And I'm grateful to Buckle for giving me an opportunity to share this lovely story with you. I hope you liked the story.
Thank you so much, Saswati. We are grateful as well. I'm sure all of you are grateful that Saswati told us such a wonderful story. Now, of course, I see a lot of, lobbying, campaigning for who the next storyteller is going to be. Now, let's see. But before that, let me tell you once again that tomorrow we'll be back with Rabibar Gapabar, again, a special New Year episode. Okay, for those who don't know, Rabibar Gapabar also is every Sunday live at 9 p.m. on the same channels, on the Buckle Foundation channels of YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, which brings the best of storytelling in Odia. And Saswati has been the big hit in Rabibar Gapabar, and as I can see many of you commenting, you are amazed that she can, tell stories with equal aplomb in both English and Odia. Well, that's Saswati for you. And one more thing, next Saturday, we will be back traveling to a particular country. But that's the country I actually initially wanted for the New Year special episode. Okay. But then we couldn't, our storyteller was not available that day. That is today. And so we decided to do it the next Saturday. Which country is this? I want you to guess and to write it down in your comments box. This country I wanted to travel to for New Year because when I did some Google, search on Google for the best New Year celebrations where the entire country celebrates it, and I came across this country, that this country celebrates it like no other. Which country is it? Okay. I'll give you a clue right now. Almost everyone bursts firecrackers, fireworks on that day, on New Year Eve. Okay. And fire is something that the country is also associated with. Okay. Which country is that? Please guess. Write it down in your comments box. Now, coming back to the next storyteller today. Who is it? Well, Priyanka Priyadarshini Sahu, your wish will be kept. The next storyteller, as many of you have requested and are predicting, is indeed the storyteller whose video on 15th August this year, one of the first storytellers, has been the most popular storytelling session in Storytime at 9. Nupur Agarwal. Let's hear Nupur now.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy and excited to be back here with all of you. It was in 2020, 15th of August, that I was here with my bag of stories, and you all had showered me with so much of warmth and love. And today, again, a new year, and I'm so excited to bring to you all a new story, a story of hope and friendship, a story of giving and expecting nothing in return. And I hope that you enjoy this story as much as you enjoyed my stories the last time. So, once upon a time, a long, long time ago, there was a mountain made of bare stone. It stood in the middle of a plain. Nothing ever grew on the mountain. No animal, bird, or even an insect visited it. The sun warmed the mountain and the winds chilled it. The only touch known to the mountain was of snow and rain. The mountain would look at the sun, the moon, and stars, and would just watch the passing clouds. There was nothing more to see. And then, one day, a small bird appeared. The bird circled over the mountain and landed on a ledge to rest. The mountain watched the bird in awe. The mountain had never ever seen anything as beautiful as the bird. The mountain felt a sense of companionship. The mountain asked the bird, "Who are you and where have you come from?" "I am Joy, and I have come from distant lands where everything is green. Every spring, I fly high in the sky looking for a suitable place to build a nest and raise my children. My journey is often long and arduous, so I rest here and there only to continue my search," said the bird. The mountain needed a companion. "Will you stay back? Will you be my friend?" the mountain asked. I can be your friend, but I can't stay back. You see, I'm a bird, I'm a living being. I need food and water to survive. The land is barren, nothing grows here, and there's not even a stream from which I can drink. So I have to go, but I can be your friend." The mountain felt sad at the thought of Joy leaving. The mountain asked, I understand that, but would you come back next year? Would you visit me every year?" Joy was truly touched. She had stopped at several mountains before, but no one had ever asked her to revisit or stay back. Joy replied, Yes, I would come every spring. I would circle over you, I'll speak to you, sing to you, spend time with you. But my visits would always be short because I have to continue my search to look for a suitable place to build a nest and raise my children. And also, I must tell you that though mountains last forever, birds don't. Though I will visit you every spring, but there will be only a few visits. But before I die, I'm going to name one of my daughters Joy. And I'm going to tell her about you. I'll tell her how to find you, so that when I'm gone, she can visit you. And she will name her daughter Joy and tell her about you. So this way, you will have a visitor every year. And having said that, Joy circled over the mountain and sang to the mountain. And that was the first music that the mountain had heard in years. The mountain was happy. But just when Joy was leaving, the mountain felt so sad watching her go. The mountain just wished she could stay back. But Joy flew away. But the next spring, the following spring, Joy came back. She circled over the mountain, she sang to the mountain, she spoke to the mountain, rested on the mountain. And when it was time for her to fly away, the mountain felt the same emotion. The mountain felt so sad. And like this, 99 springs came and went. Joy kept her promise. But each time, it became harder and harder for the mountain to watch Joy leave. It was the 100th spring, and this time when Joy came back, and when it was time for her to leave, the mountain couldn't take it anymore. The mountain's heart broke, the hard stone cracked, and from the deepest part of the mountain, tears gushed out and rolled down the mountainside as a stream. The mountain wept and the mountain wept. The following spring, when Joy came back, the mountain was so deep in sorrow that the mountain did not acknowledge Joy's presence. Joy tried to sing to the mountain, she tried to speak to the mountain, but the mountain could not hear a word she said or she sang. She just flew away. The following spring, when Joy came back, she did not come alone. She carried in her beak a small seed, and she tucked that seed in one of the cracks she found in the mountain. The seed thrived on the tears of the mountain. Sunshine was ample, and over a period of time, the seed sent out small roots. The roots penetrated deeper into the crack, and in no time a plant appeared. But the mountain was so sad. The mountain was immersed in its sorrow. The mountain failed to notice that plant. Joy started bringing with her seed every year, and all these seeds grew into plants, and those plants grew into tall trees. These trees started bearing flowers and fruits which attracted the butterflies and the bees and the birds. And not just that, the mountainside got covered in grass, so the cattle started coming to graze. The mountain, had been weeping for years, so now there was a stream in which appeared the fishes. The entire landscape changed. An entire ecosystem evolved on the flourishing mountain. And now the mountain couldn't ignore the changes that were happening around it anymore. And when the mountain opened its eyes, those tears of sorrow turned into tears of joy. It was spring again. Joy arrived. And this time she was not carrying a seed in her beak. She was carrying a twig. And when she arrived, she flew straight to the tallest tree that had grown from the first seed that had been planted years ago. She placed that twig on one of the highest branches. And then she circled over the mountain. She sang to the mountain. She spoke to the mountain and said, "I am joy and I have come to stay." So that was a story, The Mountain That Loved a Bird, written by Alice McLaren. A story very close to my heart, a story that I enjoy sharing with my audience, and I hope you enjoyed it too. So thank you so much for joining all of us here today, and I hope that 2021 brings in good news, positive vibes, and plenty of blessings for each one of you. Stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nupur. I'm sure you must be very happy seeing how much, the children out there were rooting for you, right? And I'm sure all of you love this story as well, The Mountain That Loved the Bird. And let's see, who do we have next? Who are your guesses? I can see some people have guessed it right. Some people have been asking for her. Now, the next storyteller is not from India, but she is from a country where there are many Indians. So, who is going to guess who is our next storyteller and which country we are traveling to? It's another continent. It's not Asia. Asia is over now. Which continent are we traveling to next? So, Shubhangi, no, it won't be Sadia. We are moving to another continent now. Which storyteller? Now, I'll give you a clue. Many of you have been asking for her. Many of you have given her name. Who is that then? Well, Aishwarya Samal, your choice is coming up next. Bongiswa from South Africa, one of my favorites. Now, those of you who would like to check out Bongiswa's videos further, there are some that you can check out on her YouTube page, Bongiswa the Storyteller. The story that she's going to tell us today is also there in that. Let us listen to Bongiswa now. Bongiswa.
Hello, friends and family. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about three friends. Long time ago, three friends were different, and this one was deaf, this one was blind, and this one was disabled. He could not walk. But these three friends, they loved each other so much. They would wake up in the morning, they would take a bath, they would play together, they would sing together, and they would dance together. But there was one problem. The three friends were very, very hungry. They did not have food to eat. So they went to the jungle to go and look for some food. They looked and looked and looked, but there was nothing. They searched and searched and searched, but there was nothing. They waited and waited and waited, hoping that a springbok would come by, but there was nothing. The following day, the three friends, they went back to the jungle. They looked and looked and looked for food, but nothing. They searched and searched and searched. Again, there was nothing. They waited and waited and waited, but again, there was nothing. They were very, very tired. They went back home. The third day, the three friends woke up in the morning. They took a bath. They played together. They sang together. They danced together. This time, they had hope. They sat down. They talked and talked and talked. They thought, they should come with an idea. Aha! An idea came. The deaf friend said, "You, my friend, you are blind, but you can hear from far. You have a different skill. And I am deaf, but I can see from far, and I have a different skill. And you, my friend, you cannot walk, but you have strong arms. You can actually hunt. So you have a different skill." So the three friends decided to work together. So they went back to the forest. They looked and they looked and they looked. They searched and they searched and they searched. They waited and waited and waited. The blind friend heard from far. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. It was a springbok. Shh, he said. The deaf friend saw from far a springbok, and the disabled friend was ready to shoot. The springbok came closer and closer and closer, and the disabled friend aimed and shot up, bah, and hit the springbok. It fell and died. The three friends were very, very excited. Oh, they were happy. Ooh, food for us. But a problem started. They started arguing and arguing and arguing and arguing and arguing and arguing. The deaf friend said, "I saw the springbok first, so it is mine." And the blind friend said, No. I am the one who heard the springbok first, so it is mine." And their friend that could not walk, who was disabled, said, "I am the strong one. I'm the one who shot the springbok, and I killed it." So the springbok is mine. So the three friends continued to argue. They argued and 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 argued. While they were busy arguing, a lion came by. It saw the springbok on the floor. It looked because it was hungry for many, many days. Oh, thank you, Lord, for free food. The lion said. It took the springbok and went away. The three friends were still busy arguing and 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 arguing. They turned to look. No, the springbok was gone. But they were ready to share the springbok. They wanted to share it equally, but it was gone. So they were sad. You see, my friends, we need to work together as a nation. This coronavirus is the same as the lion. It has come to steal our joy, and it has come to make us angry. So we need to work together. Please listen to the president when he says, wash your hands with soap or with sanitizer. Stay at home. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed my story. Bye-bye, friends. Bye.
Thank you so much, Mongeswa. I hope all of you know how to wash your hands, and I hope you're doing that. I see that a lot of you have become very negligent, very lax. When I go around, I see everyone is now, I can afford not to wear a mask now because no one is around me. Okay, I'm all alone here. Okay, I'm here at the Bakul Library. But then when you're going out, please ensure that you're wearing masks, and please ensure that you regularly wash your hands. Do not take things for granted. For example, the next storyteller that we have, okay, she was just telling me how in her country and in her part of her country, now there's a second wave, and they have all, they're all alarmed by the coronavirus there. Now, some of you have guessed her right, but let us see whether the others have guessed it. Who is the next storyteller? But just again, once more, remember, I had asked you to guess the country that we'll travel to next Saturday at 9 p.m. And the clue that I had given you was that the New Year celebrations are very special because a lot of people, most people burst fireworks, on New Year Eve. The second clue is this country. Now, do not Google it. I want you to guess it. This country is also called the land of fire and ice. That should be the clue for you. That is the connection between the fireworks and fire. Okay, you guess which country this is. Now, meanwhile, let us move on to our next storyteller. And the one who got it right at the very beginning is Lipsita Muduli. That's right, Lipsita, and many of you are now guessing it right. We are going to travel to Australia with Kiran Shah. And Kiran was just saying before the show about how COVID has again come back. They were kind of resting easy, but now COVID is back and they're all alarmed about that. So let's listen to Kiran right now. Kiran Shah from
Hello, everyone.
Australia.
My name is Kiran Shah, and I'm here in my home in Australia. And I'm here to tell you a story because it's the new year, and I would like to start by wishing all of you a very happy year ahead, a better year than the one that we've been having all around the world. So I'm choosing a story today that comes all the way from Japan. And I want to take you in your mind's eye, in your imagination. Let's go on a ride all the way to Japan. And it's springtime. And I chose springtime because springtime is the time of new life, new beginnings, just like a new year. It is a time when baby rabbits are born, baby chicks hatch, and the trees, some of those trees that have been bare all winter, well, they sprout new leaves. And it is a beautiful time of the year. And my story takes place amongst the rolling hills of Japan. And at the bottom of the hill, there is a village. But my story is not about the village or the villagers, although the villagers will tell you that at the top of the hill, well, there is a temple. And in that temple resides a very old priest. And the villagers will tell you that the temple and the priest have been there for so long. Nobody knows how old the priest is. It is a nice, beautiful morning. The sun is shining and the earth smells fresh from the rains of the night before. It is all very peaceful that morning until a man breaks that peace and serenity by knocking on the temple door. And he knocked so hard and waited for a while because it took a while for the old priest to open the door. And the man looked at the priest and said, I have been learning all my life, and I think I have learned all there is to learn. But I was told to come to you. What can you teach me? Well, the old priest, he looked at the man and he said, I think we should discuss this over a cup of tea, and invited the man to come in. Now, in Japan, making a cup of tea is not an easy matter. There is a lot of ritual. There are a lot of things that a proper tea ceremony consists of. And it takes a while, and all this is done in silence because tea making is almost like meditation. And so the man, he tried to sit patiently at the very low table in a room which is the floor is made of straw. It's called tatami. So the tatami mats, and he knelt on this low table and he waited. And he tried to not fidget because that would be a bit rude. But inside, he was so impatient. All he wanted was what this old man, this priest, could teach him so that he could be on his way because he thought he knew everything. I wonder if some of you sometimes feel that way. Oh, I know this, I know that. Well, the priest took a long time to make that tea, but finally it was ready. Now in Japan, tea is served in little small cups with no handles and no saucers. Just that little cup, a dainty little cup. And I wonder if some of you have poured yourselves a drink. And you have to concentrate and be so careful, don't you? Well, it seemed that the old man was concentrating. He was, because everything he did was in complete silence. And he was very graceful as he poured that tea in that cup in front of the man. And he poured, and he poured, and he poured. And do you know what? The tea came up to the top of the cup. And the young man, his eyes went like this, thinking he should have stopped a long time ago. But the priest, he kept pouring and pouring and pouring, and the tea spilled over onto the table. Has that ever happened to you before? Yes. The man was horrified as the tea spilt over the table and threatened to fall into his lap. And he stood up and he said, "You can't even pour a cup of tea properly, and I'm here to learn from you?" And the priest, very calmly, he just put the kettle down and he said, your mind is like this cup of tea. It is so full that it cannot accept any new learning. Come back to me when you have an empty cup mind, and then you will surely learn something. And the man bowed and left, looking rather shamefaced. I like to tell this story because every time I go somewhere new, every time I meet someone new, every time I have a new experience, I like to think of this story because if I have an empty cup mind, what can I learn? So much more. And so, my friends, in this beginning of 2021, I would like to invite you to have an empty cup mind so that you can embrace all the new experiences, the new people you'll meet, the places you'll go to, and learn as much as you can. And with that, I wish you a happy new year, happy beginnings, and lots of learning.
Thank you so much, Kiran. Thank you very much for your wishes. And as I'm sure all of you will be keeping an empty cup mind, as she said. Right. Now, the last storyteller of today, who is that going to be? She is from a continent we have not covered so far today. Who is that? So we have already gone to the Americas. We have already gone to Australia, Africa, Asia. What remains next? Now we are traveling to Europe, to Italy. Yes, Priyanka Priyadashini Sahu, you seem to be on a roll today. It is Giovanna Conforto. So let us listen to Giovanna. Giovanna, over to you and your wonderful story.
A long time ago in Italy, there lived a king who had only one daughter. And when he felt it was time for her to get married, she sent his ambassadors far and wide in the near and far countries in order to find the perfect husband for her. But whoever they brought back, it seemed to be never enough for the princess, and she had only one answer: no, no, no. After some time, the king was really, really annoyed, and he said to his daughter, "Listen, either you find within 1 year the husband who is good enough for you, or you are going to marry whoever I decide." "Okay, okay," said the princess. "Good enough for me. But you know what, my father? I am going to bake my own husband." "What are you going to do?" said the king. "I am going to bake my own husband. And you know what? The only thing I need is a cántaro, which is a measure of 80 kilos of flour, some water, and a quiet place where to sit and work." Nobody had ever heard of anything like that, but what did he have to lose, the king? And so he said, "Okay, you will have what you ask for." And so the princess started working on her dough. And of course she did feel a little bit silly all by herself baking her own husband. And so to give herself courage, she started singing. And she sang like this. Per un mese t'ho impastato, per un mese t'ho spastato, un mese ha giù lavorato, per far sto reuccio tanto amato. Which means, I have been making the dough for 1 month. I have been unmaking it for 1 month. I have been working for a whole month to create my beloved prince. But after 1 month, there was nothing. And after 2 months, there still wasn't anything. And after 3 months, and 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. At the 6th month, he would stand. But he wouldn't talk, nor do anything else. So she continued and continued until exactly 12 months after. Here he was, in all his beauty, the most beautiful and handsome prince anyone had ever seen. So she brought him to her father and said, "My father, this is the man I want to marry." The king looked at the handmade prince, but he looked okay. Why not? So the wedding was organized, and it was a beautiful, fantastic wedding, and they had invited everyone. Everyone except who? You're right, the wicked witch. She was left behind. But she did come. She did come to the wedding, and the moment she saw the handmade prince, she fell in love. It was love at first sight, and so in a gust of wind, she kidnapped him and brought him to her castle, to the top of 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 the highest mountain. And she also put a spell on him, so he could not see, he could not hear, but he also could not be seen and could not be heard. The princess, she cried for 3 days and 3 nights, and then she thought she had to do something a little bit more efficient. And so she put a saddle on a horse and she left. Cataplop, 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 cataplop. She went from person to person. "Have you seen my prince? Have you seen my beloved prince? Have you seen my beloved prince? Have you seen my beloved prince?" But nobody seemed to have seen him. Until one day, an old man told her, yes, there was once a legend of a prince who had been kidnapped and brought from the wicked witch to the top of 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 the highest mountain. But you will never reach it. "You bet," said the princess. She turned her horse and cataplop, 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 cataplop. She reached the top of the top of the top of the top of the highest mountain. And there was a castle, all black, with only one window in the center. And here he was, in all his beauty. she shouted and screamed, "Hey, my prince, it's me! I have come to rescue you!" But he seemed not to see her and not to hear her. And so this time she was really desperate, and she fell on her knees and started to cry. And because she did not know what to say and what to do, she started singing the song that she sung while she was making him. Per un anno t'ho impastato, per un anno t'ho spastato, un anno aggiù lavorato, per far sto reuccio tanto amato. I have been making the dough and unmaking it for 1 full year to create you. And there, the magic of the music and the magic of the love broke the spell, and finally the prince could see the princess, and they ran one in each other's arms, and they hugged, and they went towards the horse, and she was in front and he was behind, and cataplop, 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 they went to the king's palace, and there they had the most beautiful, gorgeous, fantastic wedding celebration. And I can assure you this is true, because I was invited.
Thank you so much, Giovanna. But that's not fair. Only you were invited. We should have been invited too. After all, this is New Year. But then let's see. So, Priyanka, Priyadashini Sahu, Ninad, both of you get in touch with me at, our contact address, contactbakul@gmail.com. So write to me and you can claim your gifts. Now, I hope all of you remember that tomorrow is the special episode of Robibar Gokobar. Now, you have to guess and write down in your comments, what do you think is going to be special? What are you going to have? Let us see if you can guess it right for tomorrow. But then, which is the country we're traveling to next Saturday that I actually initially wanted you to travel to today? The land of fire and ice. The land where you can see the midnight sun also. What? That's right, the midnight sun. It's not called the land of the midnight sun. That's a country nearby. But you can also see the sun at midnight there, where they specially celebrate New Year. Some of you have got it right, but I only hope you guessed it right. You did not Google it. Well, the country indeed is Iceland, that we will travel to with a fantastic storyteller from there. And that comes next Saturday. And then, of course, is Robibar Gopobar. But before that is Robibar Gopobar tomorrow. Now, I'll confess to something. You know what? Today in the afternoon, I was thinking, shall we make it the last Robibar Gopobar tomorrow in this season? Okay. And then maybe after a couple of months of break, start it again. And the reason why I was thinking about this is, shall we stop the storytelling sessions? Is because I saw that many of you are not coming for the storytelling sessions. Many of your friends are not coming. Initially, there were so many of you. So I was feeling a little disheartened, disappointed. I know we're talking about hope and good wishes, but that was something that I was actually thinking. But many of you have turned up today, and that gives me hope. I think we will continue the storytelling sessions. But for that, I want you to make a promise, and I want you to do something. I want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you've not done that already, to like our Facebook page if you've not done that already, and to definitely share this video with all your friends, so that, and tell your friends that if they do not join you in coming for the storytelling sessions, we are going to take a break, right? So, but before we end today, let's have your favorite storyteller, Saswati, back on the show. Saswati, I hope you're still there. Thank you. Thank you for staying back.
I had not wished our viewers Happy New Year. So that was pending at my end because I just wanted to start my story with the song. Well, I want to tell you that gratitude is an attitude. Let's hold it and let's join tomorrow's story session as well. So we are looking forward for tomorrow. And for Robbie Bar, Goppo Bar. Let's see what Sujit sir and Bakul bring for us.
Okay. I think someone has asked for the contact address again. Well, it's here, contactbakul@gmail.com. That's the email. Please write it down. Okay. And, you get in touch with me for your surprise gifts. And again, gifts are waiting for those who predict correctly for tomorrow, Rabibar Gapobar as well. So I think from both of us, Saswati and me, good night. Okay, and have a great week ahead. But then, see you tomorrow at 9 p.m.
Join
Bye.
us tomorrow. We'll be eagerly waiting sharp at 9. Vyakula Monare, Bakula Bonare. Good
मुझे
night.
स्कॉलर जाऊଥିଲି कि ओडिया भाषा है. Okay, tada.
Namaskar.